A very good evening and welcome to the news at 10, brought to you by Eswatini TV. I'm Sanibo Ngwane. I'm with Zamanzi. We're coming to you live from the Hospital Hill Studios in Babane. First, your headlines tonight. The Minister for Finance says all public factory shells are now under the Eswatini Investment Promotions Authority's custody. Safe, sanitary and usable toilets are a fundamental need for human health and dignity. The multi-sector task team on violence has unveiled the root causes of gender-based violence in Eswatini. Good evening, the news in detail. The Minister for Finance, the Honourable Neil Rickenbeck, says all public factory shells are now under the Eswatini Investment Promotions Authority's custody. Now, the Minister said this in Parliament.
A while ago, so we went back in to find what exactly is preventing this taking place. There has been a lot of toing and froing between the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Commerce around the stock of factory shells. And the first response, Honourable Speaker, we were considering to say we are still busy trying to finalise that. We're still trying to work out the valuations. But realising, Honourable Speaker, that this has taken way too long, we decided as Ministry of Finance, let's rather just make a final decision on this matter. Actually write a letter to EPA and transfer the factory shells once and for all to EPA to be able to get this matter dealt with once and for all, as Parliament is seeking to do. And so we've attached in the response, obviously I've attached the letter to EPA. I can read the letter, but the letter is just making it very clear. So all factory shells have been transferred to EPA for their management, for their control. They must keep the money in their bank account. The money does not, because there was confusion around there too, the money does not go to the consolidated fund. And they must use the funds for the purposes, as we've given the letter, to make sure they maintain the factory shells. Hopefully in time, Honourable Speaker, this money can accumulate. They can even use the same money for building new factory shells in the government, and it can be a whole business unit on its own, which could be very exciting. It could really drive the agenda of getting people employed, Honourable Speaker. So even though behind the scenes we will still continue with the Ministry of Commerce, we have restarted a valuation process of the factory shells, do the full evaluation, do a transfer once we have the evaluation of the stock to them. The full control has already been passed to them in the letter that's been done, and we will just do a process of giving them the full stock of factory shells as it comes out from the valuation process. So the bottom line, honestly, I think we've complied 100% with the motion, and the factory shells have been transferred.
Safe, sanitary and usable toilets are a fundamental need for human health and dignity. The acting Deputy U.S. Ambassador Yolanda Mikiewicz said this during her remarks at the opening ceremony of the 12 ablutions funded by the U.S. Ambassador's Special Self-Help Grant at Makungucha Primary School on Tuesday.
Makungucha Primary School got a chance to be one of the projects under the Ambassador's Special Self-Help Grant for funding 12 ablutions worth 148,000 Malangini. The acting Deputy Chief of Mission Yolanda Mikiewicz says by working together to construct this new building and 12 new toilets, the children will not only benefit with better health, but also in improved academic performance as the environment is now more conducive for learning.
Through an award of approximately 148,000 Emalangeni, over 380 students and 15 teachers and support staff now have access to improved sanitation facilities during their workdays. These facilities will also benefit more than 1,000 parents and community members who use this school for meetings and events. Safe, sanitary, and usable toilets are a fundamental need for human health and dignity. Without sanitary facilities, the health risk for the students to contract cholera or other illnesses is high.
The Minister of Education and Training Representative Lungelo Nhlengetwa extended his gratitude to the U.S. Embassy, and he further asked the embassy to continue assisting in development of the country, especially in schools.
We are all aware schools don't get funding only from government, which sometimes is not sufficient. So we therefore thank the American Embassy, who came at the right time to assist the state in building the state-of-the-art ablutions that have been built in.
The Member of Parliament of Ndondozi Nkundla, Honourable Peter Ngwenya, urged parents to send children to schools and stop keeping them at home.
sisemakhaya thina kakhulu aphindze njalo sivakashele sitawuchubeka siwacele nathi lesidingako nakuyo inkundla sitawucela sithembisa sisenkundleni ukuthi lesitawukhona kukwenda sitasibambisa lesikolo ngoba naso sisibambisile.
The government of the Kingdom of Eswatini and the United States have a long history of partnership in the field of community development, and this proves that Eswatini is working towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which aims to have clean water and sanitation by the year 2030. Reporting is Cindy Sozwane, Mbonga Dube, Makungucha.
The multi-sector task team on violence has unveiled the root causes of gender-based violence in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Salele Nzimanze, who is the Senior Social Welfare Officer in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, highlighted this during the presentation of quarterly updates that one of the findings indicate that drug abuse is being ranked amongst the primary catalysts for such abuse.
The Kingdom of Eswatini, like many nations, faces the pervasive issue of gender-based violence with its painful effects echoing across community. In a bid to confront this pressing challenge, the multi-sector task team on violence presented findings on the underlying causes of gender-based violence in the country.
Bavetile kakhulu ngendzaba yekusetshenziswa kakhulu kwetitsakamiva ikakhulukati indzaba yetshwala.
Sandile Nzimanze, the Senior Social Welfare Officer in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, says teenage pregnancy has emerged as a significant contributing factor alongside drug abuse. Nzimanze says while visiting all the 4 regions of the country, they gathered that most people abuse alcohol, which is the leading cause of some of the gender-based violence cases. Nzimanze says the only solution is that people should work together to end gender-based violence.
Ivele kakhulu vele etifundzeni ikakhulukati nje elibonjeni naseshiselweni.
Eswatini has taken a significant step towards the establishment of the national strategy to combat gender-based violence. The framework underscores the government's commitment to prioritizing the safety and well-being of Eswatini. Eswatini TV News, Sondo Mlangeni, Ezulwini.
Now, in an effort to elevate Eswatini TV to greater heights, the Board of Directors and heads of departments underwent capacity building sessions on corporate governance. Now, Amos Ngwenya, who's the chairman of the Eswatini TV Board of Directors, emphasized that they now have a clear understanding of their roles and responsibilities. Ngwenya made these remarks during a management retreat held at Pigs Peak.
In a strategic move aimed at fortifying its operational framework, Eswatini TV has embarked on an ambitious journey to improve corporate governance practices within its ranks. The Board of Directors and key department heads are undergoing comprehensive capacity building sessions focusing on corporate governance principles. The chairman of Eswatini TV Board of Directors, Amos Ngwenya, the chairman of Eswatini TV Board of Directors, Amos Ngwenya, says the workshop aims to instill a deep understanding of corporate governance.
That's it, when the induction of the corporate governance, because when they are about corporate governance, it's how the board should have an oversight on management and how management should look at the organization, and then in a very clear and manner, would be better long at us and then manager report because manager for board member. So the crowd said that's calling the Langanisa themselves yethu. Kahle bese ke sisinoma sesivumelene netigaba tema objectives na coverage. The management expected the board expected.
Luke Mnisi, the managing director of JBH Consultant, says a clear understanding of roles will lead to achieving the goals of being the best national broadcaster.
So the corporate governance will cover issues of how they are expected to do their day-to-day business and what is their function in terms of policies, governance framework, and how do they interact with the various stakeholders and the ministry in particular, and how do they also interact with management.
The board is expected to be provided with a strategic plan that will move the television station to being the best in Eswatini, the region, and the world. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni Themba Shabangu in Pikespeak.
Prevention is at the top of the program priorities of the National Malaria Control Program aimed at eradicating the malaria disease in the country. This was said by Zuli Zulu of the National Malaria Control Program under the Ministry of Health during an information session with the Kenyan delegation held at the program's offices in Manzini.
We are unpacking other details, maybe going in depth. For example, today, we've set aside the day to take them through the surveillance system in the country. It can kill, but good thing you can prevent malaria from having malaria. So for us, it's just to encourage the people to be vigilant. In areas where there is transmission, as a program or as a ministry, we usually go out and spray those dwellings on annual basis. So it's just to humbly request the population to also cooperate, to allow us to spray their households.
The leader of the Kenyan delegation, Dr. Lois Rono, says they are impressed by the information they have learned so far about Eswatini's malaria elimination programs.
The innovative approach, which we have really learned from the presentations that and the meetings that we had yesterday and today, this morning, and really they have sustained efforts which have resulted in substantial reduction in malaria cases over the years. Achieving malaria elimination was thought not to be possible, but really Eswatini has proved everyone else wrong that it's really possible to eradicate malaria within a country.
According to the World Health Organization's 2023 report, Eswatini is among 25 leading countries in the world that are successfully fighting malaria and has won many awards. It says Eswatini was poised to totally eliminate the disease. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Sindiswazwane, Manzini.
The Mbiveni Biggest Prize received a sponsorship from Sipambanweni for 20 bags of 5 kg millimili that is to be cooked during the 2024 Mbiveni Biggest Prize next month.
Handing over the 20 bags of 5 kg milling meal to Pilani Maswati, the head of operations at Spambanweni Milling Wanda Mdluli says the elderly people are the roots of the country, thus they have to be taken care of. Mdluli further said the Umtaba milling meal does not only give energy, but it also contributes to bodybuilding.
Ingonyama yemhlaba ikele yakhuluma yathi level yaseSwatini kufuna lingene kuma first world countries. So singusiphambanweni milling sithi tema sibuka sokuthi ngabe leli phupho lengonyama singalifeza ngani sabona ukuthi asesilethe impuphu etawusita eMaswati. So sinenfokoto kakhulu ukuthi besinga donate le mpuphu le ubogogo ngelanga lelikhulu litabe likhona ukuthi labo sebake bayithole bayidle ibajabulise.
Receiving the donation, the chairman of Pilani Maswati, Lutfo Dlamini, expressed his extended gratitude to Spambanweni Milling. Receiving the donation, the chairman of Pilani Maswati, Lutfo Dlamini, expressed his extended gratitude to Spambanweni Milling and further expressed that this gesture came at the right time.
Asibonge basesiphambanweni ngokuthi nalonyaka basihlabe ngesikozwane basiphe impuphu ekolekelela bogogo babe bangaqala empeleni cishe sengomnyaka wesithathu basibambisa sinesibongiso ngilokuthi siphambanweni sigayo lesakhiwe eLiswati emakhaya esiqinisini.
The Pilani Maswati invited Maswati to come out in numbers and join the Eswatini Biggest Prize on the 20th of July 2024. Reporting is Cindy Swazwane, Bendulo Gumbi, Manzini.
The Office of the Master of the High Court has been accused of taking a motor vehicle in a brand of an Isuzu registered under the name of the deceased daughter from his first marriage and incorporating it into the deceased estate. For this reason, the deceased's second wife is accused of subsequently disappearing with the vehicle since she was the executor of the deceased's estate.
The name of the deceased daughter is Pumlile Lokotfako. The deceased is Vus Lokotfako, who passed away in 2014. He had two wives. The first wife, whom he had married traditionally and has since passed away.
His second wife, who is still alive, lives in Johannesburg, whom he married customarily. The complaining daughter Phumlile is from the first wife, who was married traditionally. Phumlile is voicing her grievances.
Babe wathi naka kahle kahle washonela ekhabo mancane. Naleti moto tile ekhabo mancane.
She says her main concern is that the second wife has benefited from the assets of her mother. She alleged that the second wife also disappeared with a motor vehicle. Phumlile appeared before the commission investigating alleged mismanagement of the estate at the master's office, accompanied by her representative Sikhathi Dlamini.
Le moto yakhe ayisiyo yalelifa, ayisiyababa. Baske bendi mistake, ngitsike nemnikeni ke nangiso khona ilanzini lopho. Bathi hayi naseyila kufunwe emaphoyiseni.
Dlamini says the office of the Master of the High Court stated that since the motor vehicle is listed at the Master's office, they will need court order to remove the motor vehicle from the estate of the deceased. The commissioners investigating the allegations of mismanagement of estate at the Master's office presented their views.
Definitely a report, Master, I sent a report, Master, and I indicated ultimately I went against
anti-theft unit. Need to allow this corner in.
Asika commissioner.
Le moto ngeyami lethi mina akayenkantolo siwendane enkantolo ngoba niyabona ukuthi le moto vela ayisiyo ye-estate.
The commissioners say the office of the Master of the High Court should prepare a report on how the issue will be resolved. The commissioners wondered why the motor vehicle was included in the estate of the deceased. Mbabane Assistant Master Thobeka Dlamini states that the car was improperly included in the deceased estate. She wonders how the motor vehicle ended up in the estate of the deceased. The commission recommends that since Phumlile is now the executor of the estate of the deceased, she will proceed to distribute the remaining assets. The estate includes cattle and goats. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
Well, with that, we shift gears into the world of business, where we take a look at financial indicators that will give us a sense of how markets fared today in our financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in into the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us. We carry on with the news. Banele Shiba, who is a Ministry of Agriculture's extension officer, has been arrested for allegedly raping a 28-year-old woman who by law is not capable of consenting to sexual intercourse. The extension officer has filed for bail application at the High Court of Eswatini, fearing that his incarceration will result in him losing his job. He is charged with the crime of rape, contravening the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act. He is accused of committing the alleged crime on May 26, 2024, near the Malulucha area. The Crown says it will make an application to have the accused name included in the National Register for Sex Offenders. Shiba says he will plead not guilty to the offence, stating that he knows the complainant as she is a neighbour of a friend and he used to attend school with. The court then fixed his bail at 15,000 Malangeni and ordered him to pay 3,000 Malangeni. The Kingdom of Eswatini has started an assessment exercise to ascertain if it is ready to implement the Green Cities Projects initiative in line with international standards. Under this initiative, the country is expected to capacitate local authorities in setting up green infrastructure projects. To this end, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, in collaboration with other government ministries and other stakeholders, are engaged in a self-assessment exercise at the George Hotel in Manzini. The meeting is supported by the Food and Agriculture Organization.
Today, we are looking at our readiness as a country to access funding from the Green Climate Fund, which was secured through the help of the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. We are discussing how best can we ensure that we achieve sustainable development, meaning that our development should not be destructive to the environment, by making sure that we pay attention to critical environment areas such as swamps, rivers, and others that are not suitable for human habitation. Towns and cities will have to infuse these standards in their planning schemes and advise businesses and residents accordingly. These programs will also give guidance to individual homeowners on how to best build their houses in a sustainable manner that will help save the environment through energy saving.
Welcome back in our sports news. The High Court will rule on the matter between Manzini Wanderers and Denver Sundowns on Wednesday, the 12th of June this year at 14:30 hours.
The matter between Manzini Wanderers and Denver Sundowns proceeded at the High Court following an urgent application filed by Manzini Wanderers on Monday, the 10th of June this year, requesting assistance from the High Court to grant them a satisfaction to get an immigration officer to verify the authenticity of Denver Sundowns players Jimo Moses' documents. Denver Sundowns argued that when the disciplinary hearing was last held, Wanderers knew that in the next hearing there was no need to have the presence of the officer to testify, but when on filing urgent application before the court, Sundown is suggesting that the matter should be postponed indefinitely and wait the decision of the disciplinary hearing. Sundowns say Wanderers acted premature by rushing to court before getting assistance from the chairperson of the disciplinary hearing. However, the court asks Sundowns if the chairperson of the disciplinary committee has requested a government official to come testify in the court. Sundowns says on the 6th of June, when the appearance was last made in the disciplinary hearing, Wanderers they reported that some of the lawyers could not appear as they were not feeling well. They should have then motivated the application to the disciplinary hearing that they couldn't quote, or rather they could not get hold of the witness from the immigration office. Manzini Wanderers says the main reason why they took the case to the High Court is because the disciplinary committee does not have powers to subpoena a government officer before the court or before a hearing of a disciplinary committee. The court is set to release a ruling on Wednesday at 12:30. The case was before Judge Bongos Magakura. Manzini Wanderers is represented by Sfiso Chere, while Denver Sundowns is represented by Zakere Ramini. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabis Msonera, High Court.
Sihlangu Saminekati have suffered their fourth defeat in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers after their 2-1 loss against Mauritius in Group C of the qualifiers. The game was played in Mauritius.
Sihlangu Saminekati have suffered their fourth defeat of the 2026 FIFA World Cup after their 2-1 all loss against Mauritius in Mauritius on Tuesday. Their fourth defeat saw Sihlangu going down to 2 goals after the first half, with their only goal coming in the second half. Sihlangu lost, having also lost on Friday against Angola. Sihlangu are now without a point in 4 games of potential 12 points played so far. They would have to turn their full focus to the regional competition known as COSAFA later this month. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabis Msonera, Mbabane.
Right, with that, we hit the home stretch of the news at 10 here at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of our top stories tonight. The Minister for Finance says all public factory shells are now under the Eswatini Investment Promotions Authority's custody. Safe, sanitary and usable toilets are a fundamental need for human health and dignity. The multi-sector task team on violence has unveiled the root causes of gender-based violence in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, that's how we conclude the news at 10 at Eswatini TV. Thanks so much for choosing to stay with us. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it is a good night and God bless.
Sometimes it helps to talk it through with someone you know and trust. Tell me about this Brian guy.